Hey there, and welcome back to our series where we create an ASP.NET Core Web API. We started from scratch. Right now we have a bunch of things here already, and I'm quite happy with that. So yeah, this evening we'll also do a little bit of coding. Nothing better to do, I guess. But there are some things that I would like to share with you before we actually go into it. Now, the first thing that I want to share is that starting tomorrow, so Monday, we will have each Monday at 8 p.m. CET a session in this series. So each Monday at 8 p.m. CET, we will have a session in this series. It could be that we might have even also during other days, but this or each Monday you can actually, maybe mark it in your calendar or wherever you want, because each Monday, this is a promise, we'll have, at least during this month of February, we'll have a session in this series. So that's the very first important thing, I guess, that I would wanted to share with you. Then the second thing is that I have decided that I guess it might be useful both for me and for everybody else that we also will probably sorry, I guess I had a small interruption with my sound here. So we'll probably, or I guess it's sure, we will use Blazor WebAssembly for that. And I'm not sure exactly when we will start that, but probably it will be pretty soon, maybe in 1 week or 2 weeks. So we will also start to build a front end for this API with Blazor WebAssembly. So please stay tuned here on this channel when I'll make the announcement on when that would start. And I would also like to make that as a very planned session so that we have it on a very, very well-known schedule. And yeah, I guess that might be it. And in order to actually do that, there is one thing that we need to do, I guess. And that thing is that we would actually have to start building in some more features here into the API right now. And right now I'm here on this GitHub repository for this project. And here, well, we have a bunch of issues already. I have added some new, and I have marked those on which I want to actually start working. Now, this adding new comments is in progress. I know it's in progress for a fairly long time, but I had a discussion with Vlad, who is actually working on that, and he will finish that soon enough. So that's why today I guess I'll start with this add nested resource for PostInteraction. So let's look a little bit into what that actually means, or what we should do here for that. So we have posts, and here for the posts we need to actually implement some nested resources for handling post interactions in the post controller. So as part of this issue, we need to implement the following functionality: get a list of interactions for a post. Okay, so that would be by ID. Add a post interaction, so to be able to actually like or dislike or interact with that post somehow. And remove an interaction from the post. Of course, if somebody wants to actually unlike that certain post, then yeah, we should be able to actually do that. So that's what I want to start to work on. And probably I'll add to this, because when we get a list of posts, we might also want to actually get their or have an array that would include maybe, I guess, interactions counts, like how many likes, how many dislikes, or things similar to that. And when we get a post by ID, then maybe we would like to have an array of interactions, but with a little bit more information about user, like maybe having a user profile of the user who actually interacted, and things similar to that. So I guess we will have just a little bit of work to do today. So let's start actually working on that. And before we get into the coding part, also please let me know if you can hear me. That would be awesome if you could let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so right now we have, or what we have here. So we have this post. We need to actually take a look into uh, the domain first to see if we need to do something here. So that would be first. Hello Amir Khan, thank you very much for joining and thank you for confirming that you can hear me. Uh, that's very important to know. Okay, so here we expose these interactions through an IEnumerable, and we actually use a backing field for that. And actually, just today, I posted a video here on this channel on what actually a rich domain model is. And in that video, there is actually, well, an entire section dedicated to why we actually use IEnumerables here and these backing fields. The idea is that we don't want to let clients or consumers to be able to add or remove interactions directly. So we want to expose that functionality in our code or in our class, in our post class, and consumers should only be able to add interactions or remove interactions through the functionality that we actually expose. So that's pretty interesting. So now I see that for the comments, I guess I have also implemented something. Okay, get post comments handler. Okay, to list. Cool. Can you start new project with WebRTC multi-server connection? I'm not sure I can do that. Really, my time is a little bit limited, and I really want to keep working on this project. Also, because there are also other community members that are working on that, so I really want this to be a community project, and I don't really have physical time to actually start something new here. Okay. So we have these comments. Where do we actually use that? Do we have a handler for the comments already? Why? Okay, I don't remember when I have implemented that, but it seems that I have them. Okay, cool. Let me go back here. Then for these interactions, we actually don't use that. So let me check. Here we have this static factory method through which we create a post, which is okay. We have this update post. We have this add post comment, remove comment. Okay. Add interaction and remove interaction. So we already have methods here in our domain model that actually do that. So that's already covered here from this perspective. Now let's see, here we have an enumerable of post interaction. Let me look into this, what post interaction actually is. So okay, we have this GeoID, which is the interaction ID. We have the post ID for this interaction, and we have this interaction type. Okay, public static create post interaction, and here we have to provide a post ID and the interaction type. Cool. That's nice. That's the static factory method. So I guess that from the data model, from our domain perspective, I guess we are we already have everything in place. So I don't think that there's anything else that we would need to do here in our domain right now. Okay, let's go then to the API. And what I want to take a look first is maybe into our, let's see, controllers. We need controllers, extensions, filters. Probably, let's close everything that we don't need here. Registers, also API routes. So we have here for the posts, we have this comment by ID, but actually that's not used anywhere as far as I can tell here. So, okay. I mean, I guess we still have to look into this comments thing, but as I said, that's actually in work by somebody else right now, so we can't really do that right now. But let me just add the endpoints that we would like to do here. So public const string, and what will we need here? Actually, we will need the ability to actually add an interaction to a certain post. Okay, so let's call this add interaction. So it means that we will need a post ID for that, and maybe interactions, something like that. Yeah, and maybe if we do a get on that, we'll get all the interactions for a certain post. But now if we want to add an interactions, we just do a post for that. If we want to delete an interaction, maybe we'll also need the interaction ID. So public const string delete interaction equals, here it would be, once again we need a post ID. Okay, then what we'll also need here is interactions. Then we'll need an interaction ID. Okay, and that would be with delete. Okay, so that would do it for our route, and we'll see how we use them. But right now I'm also looking into this post interaction thing, because I guess there's still some changes that we need to do to the model here, because we post interaction, we have the interaction ID, the post ID, but we'll also need maybe the user. So yeah, I guess we still need to make some changes, because we want to know who actually made a certain interaction. So let's public GUID user profile ID get private set. Okay, and then we'll probably also need public user profile get private set. Okay, import missing reference in file. Okay, that should do that. Cool. So right now we will have also information about the user, but what that actually means is that well, that will actually be fun, because I never did this with Rider, and I guess I'll fire up Visual Studio for that, because we'll have to add a migration and update the database. So let me also go to the DAL project. Where is it? Okay, and here for configurations. What do we have? We have already a configuration for post interaction. Okay, so has key post interaction. Okay, I guess that should be okay already, because I guess everything else would be okay by convention. Let me fire up Visual Studio, because I'll use the package manager console to actually do this update. I'll use Visual Studio for that. So yeah, because I'm not sure exactly how this would work in Rider. I still have to look into that. I'm still fairly new to Rider, and I never actually was in a scenario where I needed to do that, and probably I'll want to do that off stream, because I guess there might be things that will probably go wrong. Okay, so we have this one here. Let's bring it on the screen. So we have here the package manager console, and yeah, let's wait for initialization. We want the data access layer and migration and profile to direction. Let us just check what this migration will actually add to the project. Okay, cool. So what do we have here? So we add user profile ID for table post interaction, which is of type unique identifier. Okay, default value is this one, migration builder, that it creates an index and it creates a foreign key. Okay, that actually Add foreign key. Okay, it added the foreign key to the user profile ID. That's okay. And the referential action is cascade here, so it means that theoretically when we delete user, it should also delete all the interactions for that user profile ID. So I guess that's pretty much everything that we need here right now. So I guess that should do it. Let's just update the database. Okay. Update. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Update. I guess I just had a typo the first time. Okay. Okay, foreign key constraint, post interaction user profile ID on table post interaction may cause cycles of multiple cascade paths. Okay. Why would this happen? That's the type of the things that actually I don't really like at all. So let me check here. First, we could change maybe here what we want to make, or how we want to handle things here on delete. But nullable, that is actually false. Let's go to the migrations. Let's go to the migrations here. Okay. And that already did a lot of changes here. So I guess I'll do another change here. And what I'll do here is I'll go to the post interaction. And here this user profile ID would be nullable. So we should be able to set that to null. And here, if we add another migration, make profile ID nullable. Okay, so that would actually drop the foreign key, but still I guess the problem would be more or less that we would not be able to actually add foreign key, and here then we don't have any referential action at all. So yeah, I'm thinking right now, if we just delete the migrations that we have created already, so it would be this migration and this migration. Let's just delete them. Okay, cool. What changes do we actually have here? Not sure, but I guess we can go here to git changes, data context model state, and I just want to actually undo all changes. Okay, and right now I guess we should be able to do this from scratch. So let me just close this and add creation, and here we'll say add user profile to interaction, and we'll check once again what the migration does for us. Okay, so we have a new migration here. So we have a column here, and this is nullable and it's set to true, which is actually okay. Then migration builder, create index, and then we have this type of add foreign key. Cool. So I guess that should work right now. So let's update database. And hopefully this time it will succeed. Yeah. So right now everything's okay. We have managed to actually do that. Cool. So right now we have updated the database. We can even check that. We go here. Where would it be? I guess it's in this project models folder, databases, CWK social, tables. And if we take a look right now at the post interaction, okay, we see that we have here a foreign key to the post, and we have here a foreign key to the user profile. So yeah, I guess that's quite okay in this case. We should be actually good to go right now. Cool. So we have solved this problem that we had with the database. So right now we are actually also able to actually bind a certain interaction to a certain user profile, because we might externally added files can be added to Git. View files. Okay, let me check. Yeah, I want to add them. Cool. Okay, so right now we are okay with the data access layer. We are okay with our domain, so we can start actually implementing that. So let's maybe take a look at the issue, and let's take them one by one. Get the list of interactions for a post. So yeah, I guess that would be fairly easy to implement. So let's set up the controller first. It would be in the, where is that? Where do we have that? Post controller. Cool. But I guess we have to set up some contracts first, because we don't have this concept of interaction in our contracts so far. As far as I remember, we have a post comment, and we have this post create and post update. Okay. Let's add a new class here. Post interaction read. How should it? So we should get a list of interactions for a certain post. And I said that when we get this list of interactions for a post, we might even want to actually say see some information about the user who actually did that. So yeah, let's actually try to see how we can model this here. So first of all, post interaction read. Yeah, let's use this name first of all, and we'll see if we need to change. We will actually change that if needed. What else do we have here? Let me just here look at the post update, post create. Okay, but don't we have a contract for the post itself? That's a little bit because these are the requests, and then this. Okay, I guess we have created this in the wrong. We have created this class in, let's just delete that. We have created that in the wrong folder. It doesn't belong there, because for each type we have then requests models and response contracts. And right now we are looking to get interactions for a certain post, so that is actually a response. So let me check what we have here in this post. We have this user profile ID. We have the text content, create date, and last modified date. And the post comment response, we have once again only the text and user profile ID. And in the user profile, let me also check in the responses. So what do we have here? We have this basic information, which is first name, last name, email address, phone number, date of birth, and current city. And we have this user profile response, which is the user profile ID, the basic information, date created, and last modified. Okay, so we actually, I guess, want to have something totally new here for the post interaction, because the way I see it, I guess I just want to have, for instance, I don't know, the user profile ID, but maybe also have some information like first name and last name, or a full name. Okay, so that would belong to the post interaction. So let me go to this responses. Hi Jack, Hi, Beck from Romania. Thank you very much for tuning in. I guess you're for the first time here. I really appreciate you tuning in. Cool. So we have once again this post response, and I guess here's that what we'll need to create this one class interface post interaction read, or should we just call it as a post interaction? Yeah, let's call it post interaction for now, and we'll see if we need to actually change the naming here. But we'll need also one other type here, and that would be how should we call it? It's the user that we want to display in a certain interaction. So it would be user or interaction user. Okay. And this interaction user would have here maybe a public let's make it string full name. Should we even have the ID of the user? I guess it's not important because consumers will not want to actually do anything with this ID right now when we actually get this information. So I guess we'll just have this full name. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. Let's take just a look into this user profile. Okay, this basic information. What from the basic information might be needed? So first name and last name will actually move everything into a full name. Then phone, date of birth, and current city. Maybe current city. Current city might be interesting to have in the interaction itself. Maybe we want to display that on the front end at a certain point. So then we go in this interaction user. We go here and have here public string city. But let's also have the ID of the user. Public UID user ID. Let's call this user profile ID. Okay. So then in the post interaction, first of all, we will have because at a certain point we might want to get the interaction by ID, for instance, when we want to delete that. That would be one use case for that. So in that case, we'll have public GUID interaction ID get set, of course, and then what we have on the interaction. First of all, because we have to do the mapping, of course, from here. So the post interaction in the domain. Okay, we don't want to display the post in the interaction itself because it is associated to the post, so that's actually not important. Now, of course, we want to have this interaction type, and I guess this interaction type will use the same thing, which is this enum. And once again, here we have like this, like haha, wow, love, or angry. Cool. So these are the types of interactions that we might support in our application for now. So we need an interaction type, of course. So post interaction public interaction type. Let's call it get set. Okay. Even though I'm thinking right now, maybe we just want to. Maybe we don't want to actually show this as a number because nobody will understand what it actually means. But instead, we might want to actually have a string for that. String type. Okay, and then we'll have this interaction user public interaction user, and call it author, the author of the interaction. I don't know. we can change the names later. I really didn't think about them beforehand, so I'm very, very bad at naming usually. So cool. Now we have this one, which is actually, I guess, what we want to display, and that should be fine. So this is a post interaction. Now, of course, the other thing that we will need to do is we'll have to go to the mapping profiles and create a map for that. Post mappings, that still belongs to a post because the interaction belongs to a post. So here we'll want to have right now a create map, and we'll want to map from a post interaction to how did we call that? Oh, I guess I called it the same way. So now that's not nice. So that's the post interaction that we have. That's not nice. So that's post interaction, and you see that the problem with the naming here, because we would have to actually do something like that. So this would be the post interaction from domain aggregates post aggregate. Okay, so that would be the source. But then for this one, we will have CWK social. Then we'll have this API contracts, posts, and we have here for requests. So we have to fully qualify this. And post create, post update. Okay, but where is it actually? So posts. And that's in responses, not in request. And post interaction. So that is right now the fully qualified domain name. So theoretically, I guess the mapping should work right now. But the only thing here is that we would actually have to make some custom mappings here. So for member destination let's have author options map from. I don't really like here rider that shows me all this stuff here. So options, or let's, okay, let's maybe have it like this. Let's have all the arrows for the lambda on the same level, I guess. Something like that. But here actually we need to actually have here author full name, and for the full name we want to map from source user profile basic info first name yeah, let's move also this arrow down. Maybe let's just move all of them a little bit back like that. That's a little bit strange, but yeah, we really need to do this these mappings here. So we want to map from the source, and the source user profile ID first name plus let's have a space here, and then plus source user profile the basic info. And no, what are you, why do you do that? Basic info and last name. So it should be like that. And that should correctly map everything here. And then for member, because here we need to specify something else once again. So we'll have here destination. So let's go here like this. Destination dot author dot city options. No, why? Okay. Options. Options map from. Here would be source. And yeah, let's. Okay, the source, it would be the user profile dot basic info and the current city. I guess it should be something like that. Okay, what else do we need to map here? So what else do we need to map here? We need to have here for member. Okay, so we have mapped I guess for the user profile here, where is it? Where do we actually have that? Post interaction, interaction user, and user profile ID. So that's also the only other thing that we need to do here. So for member, once again, destination, and let's go on another line. Destination dot author dot user profile ID options. But why does this IntelliSense not want to actually work with me correctly? Options.map from source and then source dot I guess we can just map it directly from the user profile ID. So that would be okay. Now, the other thing that we need to map is the interaction type. So for member, here destination, I really hate this type of stuff. So destination, let's give it a space. Let's have here destination dot, what we have here, interaction type, options dot map from source. It would be like this source dot interaction type, and we want the string from that. Okay, and I guess, okay, that gives just a warning that we will have a boxing allocation, but I guess that right now this one should be okay, because for this post interaction, let me just check. We have here this GUID, which is interaction ID, so it's called interaction ID, and here we have, if we go on the domain model of that, we also have this interaction ID. So that should actually be mapped automatically based on the automapper conventions. So I guess that would actually do that for the mapping that we would need to actually do now. Okay, post response, that's not something that we need here. What's actually this post comment response? Okay, that's the controller. That's what we need here. This file we don't need anymore. Basic info we don't need anymore. User profile response we don't need it anymore. Okay, so we have this interaction user. So that's ultimately what we will actually display there. Okay, Cool. So let's go back to the controller right now and try to actually do some stuff here. So we have the last one, which is add comment to post, which is this method. Let me maybe just close this down. Okay, something went wrong here. Okay, let me just go here. Public async task of iAction result. iAction result. And here get post interactions. Okay, we'll try to evaluate right now what we actually need here. So first of all, that would be an HTTP get. Okay, then that would be, we would also need a route here. So the route would actually be here API routes dot posts dot, and here we have add interactions. Actually we don't have, we have to specify this route here. We have not specified that. Okay, so the route here would be public const string. How would, let's call this post interactions. Okay, of course, not sure exactly what happened here. Let's do it again. Public const string post interactions, and that would be equal to, so first of all we will need post ID, of course. Okay, and then we'll need interactions. So that would be the route for this one. Okay, but you know what, we'll name this one interaction by ID. Okay, so I guess we would be good to go with that one for now, at least. So let me just post ID and interaction. So that would be post interactions. Let's go back to the controller, and here we'll have now post interaction. So that would be the route here. Now we have the GUID of the post here, so we'll use also our action filter, validate GUID. And here we will have the key is named once again post ID. So that's what we need to do. We don't need to validate the model because this is not a create or an update, so it's just a query. So I guess that would actually be okay. Now, of course, the only thing that we need here is string post ID. So that's actually the only thing that we would need, and that would be from the routing param. And if the if we actually arrive with the execution at this line 144, we already went through this validate GUID, because this one, if that string is actually not parsable to a GUID, we actually already return a bad request from there. So it means that if the execution arrives here, it means that that validation is okay. So we can just say here for post, because post GUID equals GUID parse, and we parse the post ID. So we'll have this one. Cool. So right now what we will have to think about is we need a query. We need a query and a query handler for that. So we need to go to the application layer for that. Let me close. So right now we are here in the posts, and here we have the queries. Cool. And here we can get add new class, get post interactions. So that would be an I request of, here we need to add automapper. So it would be an I request of operation result of okay. Guess we need to also import no. I guess I have a typo here. And right now import missing referencing file. Okay, that's what we need here. So I guess we have too many things here, and we will retrieve here a list of post interaction. So that's what we'll have here. Okay, what did we import here? Domain aggregates post aggregate. That's okay because that's what we actually want to do here. Okay, now the only thing that we would need here in this query right now is the post ID. So on public GUID, let's call this post ID. That's the only thing that we actually need in this query right now. And why do we still have some errors? I guess we still need one more of those. No. So it's operation result of list, I guess still one. Like that, 3 of them. Cool. And right now we should be good to go with this class. And this means that we need to right now implement a handler for that. So add class interface. How did we call this? Get post interactions. Get post interactions handler. Okay. And this would be then an I request handler that would let's add everything here. That would return an operation result of type list of post interaction. Okay, so I guess we should be okay with that one. Probably we'll need to also update here. Domain aggregates post aggregates, so that should actually be okay. Okay, what do we okay, because first of all we need to specify, of course, the command get post interactions. That's actually the name of the query that we have. Okay, what's the problem right now? I'm not sure exactly what we are missing here. So it would be an I request handler, and in the request handler, the first thing is the get post interactions, which is the query, and then the return type, which will be an operation result of. Let's look into the error. Of course, we need to implement the interface. Yeah, sure. We need to do that because that's the handler. Okay. So what we need here is, first of all, our data context, private read only, data context, let's call it like that. And we will need a constructor. And in this constructor, we still need also get a data context and assign it here. Okay, so right now we are good to go with that. Let's bring this on a different line. And yeah, right now we have to implement the logic for that. So let me look at the get all posts handler so that we implement it similarly. So we have, of course, yeah, it's actually very, very easy. Let's follow the same principle here. So var result equals new operation result of list of post interaction. Okay, did we maybe set the list here? No. Okay. No, I guess that should be okay. So let's wrap everything into a try catch. Fairly easy. And here var can already say try var interactions equals await context dot posts. And now I'm thinking here. Because the idea is that we have to work through the aggregate, which in our case is the post. So I guess the first thing that we would have to do is here post, var post await context dot posts dot we want to do an include here for each post. We want to include the post interactions. So that's what we want to do here. So that's an include. And then let's have maybe also where the post post dot post ID equals the request dot post ID. So those should be equal, I guess. And then we want to have first or default async. Of course, we could have specified the criteria directly into this first or default async. Let's maybe just move that. Let's maybe just move that. Okay. Cool. And we can then just get rid of the entire where. That's not needed anymore. So we just get here the thing that we need. Cool. So we would be good to go with that one. So the next thing that we could do here is why. Okay, we need to mark this as an async. And what we also need to do is actually pass in the cancellation token here. So that we actually are able to stop when the cancellation is requested. That would prevent us from wasting resources. Okay, please let me know if you can still hear me correctly. That would be highly appreciated. Okay, so here we get these post interactions. So now we have to actually do something here. So we would have to actually say here that if post equals null, then we want to actually what we actually want to do. I guess we have on the result errors payload reset add error. So we just want to add an error here. And here we have this post error messages. Let's have here public, but we already have here post not found. We already have that. We already have that. So what we'll do here is results.error add. So we'll have to specify here first of all the error code, and the error code is not found, and the message we want to display is in the post error messages dot not found. So that's the message that we want to do. So if that's null, then we do that, and that will populate the result automatically with an error, and it will also set the flag is error to true. So when we will return the result later, it will actually the consumer will know that we had an error here. Cool. So that's the first thing that we wanted to do. So if the post is okay, it would already include a list of interactions, and if there is no interaction there, then it would be of course an empty list, but still a list. So that's still a valid response. So it means that what we can do here is we can say here result dot payload equals post dot interactions. Okay, what's the problem here? Okay, it's interactions. Yeah, we need the list of that. because we have an enumerable right now. Cool. So that should be okay right now. What is this warning? The reference of a possible, okay. But it's not, because if it's null, we just do that. So, but you know, if that's the case, yeah, I guess we would have to actually already return the result here. So I guess what we need to do is, let's go on a new line. I guess we still need a code block here, because if we are in this scenario, then we already want to return the result. Okay, and if not, then and only then we set the payload, and then the result we also return it at the end if we have any other error. So if we catch an exception here, what we'll do here is we will not rethrow, but what we'll do here is result.add unknown error. So that's actually what we need to do. And we need to provide a message, and we provide the message that we get in the exception. So that would be the error. So that would return us the entire or the list of interactions for a certain post. So that's actually nice, I would say. So we already have the command and the command handler. So let's go back to the controller right now. So we have this GUID. Based on this GUID, we can have here var result equals await mediator dot send. So what we'll also need to get in the cancellation token. Cancellation token token, and we'll send here one new. You know what? To just not make this line very long, let's instantiate the query here, var query equals new post interactions, and then actually we can even say post ID equals post GUID. So that should be okay. And then we want to send the query, and we want to send the cancellation token with that. And yeah, right now we should be good to go. So right now, if result.is error, then we have this handle error response. And then we return the result.error. So that's what we do here, and that would return kind of like a response. We have this method here, which is on the base controller, and this I guess we will also have to look into this method here, because right now, based on the error codes, we just have this for not found, and then for all other scenarios, we actually just do I would say default 400 error. So I guess we would have to be a little bit more specific there, and yeah, try to actually find out if we have something else. From an error perspective, we might return something with a more meaningful phrase here, for instance. Okay, cool. So although here we actually iterate through all the errors that we might have and display the message, so it's I guess we can live with that for now. I guess we can live with that, but sure, here there might be some room for improvement. But if the result is not error, then what we have to do is var map equals mapper.map. We want to map to a list of post interaction, I guess we call that, but not in the domain layer, but in the API contracts. Okay, and we want actually result.payload. That's how we want to do the mapping. And if the mapping is okay, we then just have to return okay, and we should return a map. Cool. And that would return us a list of post interaction that will contain an interaction ID, an interaction type, which in our case will be of type string. So we do a transformation there because in the domain model, we have an enum for that, but in the user interface, we want to just, well, display the name of that specific interaction. Yeah, maybe we'll change that at some point to still return an enum. So I'm really not sure about that, and I don't have a strong opinion right now. And then we also have the interaction user that will include user profile ID, the full name, and the city of the user that made that specific interaction. So that's actually cool right now. So yeah, we are actually fairly okay. Now the only thing is we can't really test this out right now because we also need, I guess, to implement the other part here, which is the ability to add a post interaction. So we would need to be able to add a post interaction. Oh, not here. Sorry, here. Cool. So this would mean let me and I guess we also have to start from the contracts here also, but this would be for the requests. So when you want to add an interaction, how should we do that? I guess let's take a look at the domain. So for a post interaction, where is it? Post interaction to create one. Actually, we need to provide a GUID post ID, an interaction type, and we also need to provide a user ID. And GUID user profile ID. And we need to provide an interaction type for that. Okay, so that's what we need to provide there. So when it comes to the API, the post ID, we will be able to take from the route. User profile ID, we will take from the token. So it means that in the post body that consumers need to do, we just need to provide an interaction type. And I guess here we'll just reuse this enum. So let me go here to the contracts, posts, and then here for requests. So these are the contracts that clients, consumers will need to provide as a JSON body. And here we can even name this once again, post interaction. Or let me post interaction create. Okay, so here we'll have only public interaction type, and we'll call this type get set. So that's the only thing that consumers will need to provide actually here as part of the body. Cool. So let's go right now back to the controller, and we will not need any mapping here because we will add everything that we need directly in the command. So let's set up maybe the endpoint for that first of all. So we'll have here something like that. We'll have here public async task off I action result, of course. And here add post interaction. Okay, so what do we actually need here from the point of view of attributes? So first of all, that would be an HTTP post. Then the route. It would be actually the exact same route that we have used previously, but this time it will be with API routes. This time it will be with a post verb. So posts, and then okay, let me go back to this one because I don't recall exactly. Do we have a duplicate here? Okay, yeah, I guess we have a duplicate here because we have called this post interaction. So add interaction, yeah, that's something that we don't need it in that case because it's the same route that we have here, but we just use a different HTTP request to actually trigger this one. So it would be not add interactions, but post interactions. That would actually add one. Okay, so in this case, once again, we will have the post ID in or as a route param. So we'll need to validate GUID. And the key for that should be post ID, of course. But here we'll also have a body. And let me maybe go to the contract and request post interaction create. So the only thing right now that we want from here is that it should be required. So that's really the only thing that we need here for that one. But we can then also say here validate model. That's another action filter that we have already created that validates if the model is okay, and if not, then we return a custom bed request, so that our error responses are really I would say consistent throughout all the endpoints. So here what we'll need here is a string post ID. What we'll also need here is what we'll also need here is so we need a post ID and we need the body. So it would be a post interaction create interaction. Okay. And yeah, let's maybe go to a different line, and the cancellation token. I guess there isn't anything else that we need here right now. So here we have a bunch of stuff to do. First of all, var post GUID equals GUID.parse, and we parse the post ID. Now var user profile ID equals, and I guess here we have the HTTP context, and I guess we have created an extension method that kind of like extracts get endpoint, get route value, get server variable, get identity claim ID. Okay. Get user profile ID claim value. Okay. I guess that's the method that we actually need to do here. Let's maybe just take a look into that. This is an extension method that we have created at a certain point, and that would actually just parse the claims that we have in the HTTP context, and it will return us okay, here I guess I see an error here because here is user profile ID and here is identity ID. Get UID claim value. Okay, so yeah, there's an error here because we need to use the key actually here. We need to use the key actually. So something like that. Possible null reference. Okay, I am not. Let's say. Okay, it doesn't work like that. Okay, but it should be fine. I guess I'll turn off these warnings at a certain point. So yeah, that one was actually not working correctly because here we have to specify the key and then the get value. And here we use then the key, which is user profile ID, and then here it is the identity ID. So yeah, now that's we are cool with that. So right now we have these two GUIDs that we actually need. Now the post interaction, we have that interaction type, which should be okay. So now we actually need to go to create the command and the command handler for that. Once again, we are in the post, but here we are on the commands. Class and interaction. What did we return here? Operation result. We did return the post comment itself. Okay, so add the interaction. That would be an I request of operation result of type post interaction. Okay, Let's alt enter, import missing reference in files, and that should be okay. And now in this add interaction command, we need once again, so first public GUID post ID. We'll also need a public GUID user profile ID get set. What ID is this? First of all, thank you very much for tuning in. This is JetBrains Rider. It's actually also a fairly known ID, and the main reason why I use that is that since it comes from JetBrains, it already has ReSharper built in by default, and it also has another very nice tweaks, like the option to actually look into the intermediate language that is generated when you actually run a certain application. And another very nice feature is that, for instance, when you are using a library like Automapper and the Entity Framework Core, if you actually want to go to the definition of a certain method, what it does, it actually downloads, if available, it downloads actually from GitHub the code itself, and you can really look into how people implemented different libraries. So these are two reasons why I prefer to use Rider recently. I'm also fairly new to Rider, so I'm not using it for a very long time. In fact, even today, for instance, when I had to add the migration and update the database, I went to Visual Studio and used the Package Manager console for that. Okay, so coming back to this here, we need a okay, post ID, user profile ID, public interaction type. Let's call this type. That, and I guess that's all the information that we need right now. Okay. So that would be the command, and we'll have to go to the command handlers and add a handler for that one. It would be add interaction handler. So that would be an I request handler of. The first thing is add post interaction, or I guess, okay, I named it add interaction only. Okay, and then it would return an operation result of post interaction. Okay, let's press Alt Enter and import all the missing references, and we should be okay with that right now. Okay, let's implement the interface. Let's, I don't know, maybe move this on second line. Let's mark this as an async method because it's async. And we'll need here, we need our DB context. Then we need a constructor, and the constructor will also need a data context. And we'll assign that. Okay, so now we can go for the implementation for this one. So first of all, how do we want to implement that? So let's use the pattern that we already have used in all the handlers. So first of all, var result equals new operation result of post interaction. Then we'll have a try and a catch. So if we get an exception here, we'll also return the result. In the end, sorry, of course we have to return that. So return result, not just result. Cool. So right now what we do here is on our result, we have an unknown error, because if we arrive here, we don't know exactly what error we have. We just provide the message that we get from the exception, and then we return the result that would contain this error message. Cool. So right now, what do we have to do? We need to create an interaction. So var interaction equals new I guess okay, we need to use a post interaction dot create post interaction. We have static factory methods for everything, so that the entire state of our domain model is handled only within the domain model itself. So we are not able to set any properties from outside. So first of all would be from the request, which would be the post ID, then request dot user profile ID, and then request dot type. Okay, so we should actually get here a new interaction, but now we should actually handle interactions through our post aggregate. So what we'll do here is actually we could even do this before we create the interaction, to not just instantiate here a new instance of something if we don't need to actually use that anywhere. So var post equals await context dot posts. Here we want to include for each post we want to include the post interactions. Okay, and then first or default async, and we are looking for a post for which the ID post ID equals what we actually have here, request dot post ID. Okay, and that would return us an instance that would also include the interactions. So what we do here before we do anything else, I guess we need here semicolon, of course. We need semicolons everywhere. So what we'll do here is if post equals null, and we need a code block for that, then result dot add the error, and error code dot not found, and the message would be once again in this posts error messages not found, because that's the message that we want to have there. And we also want to return the result, because we don't actually want to go any further if actually we don't find a post for that. But if we find a post, what actually we can do here is we create the interaction, and then post dot interactions dot add okay, I guess once again we cannot add directly to the collection, but we have exposed a functionality. This is what it means to have actually a rich domain model, more or less. So here we have the post interaction, add interaction, and we add that interaction. So we are cool with that right now. So what we'll do here is a context dot posts dot update. We want to update the post, and then await context dot save changes async, and it would save the changes. And we said that we just want to return the interaction if everything's okay. So then what we'll have here in result.payload equals interaction. Okay, and here at the end we just return the result. It could contain this newly created interaction, or it could contain an error message. But right now I guess we should be good with our command handler for this type of task. So let's go back here to the controller. So var command equals new, and what did we call that? And add interaction. And actually we can even use here this object initializer, and what we'll add here is of course y. So the post ID would be equals to the post GUID that we have created, then the user profile ID would be equal to the user profile. How did we ID profile ID? Okay, and the interaction type, I guess it's only type here, equals type. Oh, but not that one. Interaction. Interaction dot type. So it's actually what comes from our body, and that would do it for our command. Now what we do here is once again our result equals await mediator dot send. What we want to send is the command and the cancellation token. Okay, and then once again, as we did previously, if result dot is error, then what we want to do is handle error messages or handle error response, result dot errors. Okay, otherwise we will just var map equals mapper.map, and we already have created a mapping for this one, so I will map from a post interaction. It would be post interaction. Let me check if that's the correct one. API context post is the correct one, and the source for this would be the request and the payload. The payload for, okay, what a result, not request, but result. Sorry for that. Result dot payload would be like that, and then we can just return okay, and yeah, we return what we have mapped. And I guess we should actually be good to go with this one. Now, there is one thing in the handler still that I want to take a look at, because we need to pass the cancellation token here. So first our default async, and then cancellation token. And here, once again, we have to pass in the cancellation token. Okay. And yeah, that would be fine, I guess, right now. So we should actually be good to go. So I guess what we can do here is we can already start actually to test this a little bit around. Let me first of all set some breakpoints. So first of all, I want to set a breakpoint to see exactly what happens here. Okay. Then I would like to set a breakpoint to see what happens in the query handler when we get all the interactions. So let's place a breakpoint here. Then I want to check what happens in the controller itself. Post controller. And here I want to check what happens when we will get those, but also when we will post them. Because I'm curious how it will actually do the mapping from the number to the enum. That's actually nice. Okay, so let's have a, yeah, let's just run that. I guess it's Alt F5 here in Rider. That starts it in debug mode. Okay. It will start also a browser probably, but on the other screen. So first we'll actually have to authenticate. Fortunately, I'm not sure exactly what users I have anymore, but I guess we can still look into this database here right now. So we have users. Okay, what users do I have here? View data. Okay, so I have user.example.com and also my. Okay, that's okay. Okay, cool. So first of all, we need to actually log in. So because we need to actually get a token. So username user.example.com. Okay. And I guess that should be the password in this case. Execute. Okay, what did happen here? Okay, we have here does okay, must resolve to top level member. Okay, so we have here some errors. Okay, for the maps. Let me author full name must resolve to a top level member and not any child objects properties. You can use for pet and custom resolver. Okay, okay. So I guess we have to restructure a little bit the way that we actually do our mappings here. And the reason why is I was thinking we can map directly this author, but what we actually need to do here is, and yeah, I guess we'll also need to include the user profile, because otherwise that would be null. Okay, so let's start with that. So it would be here in the get post interaction handler. So here where we actually include post interactions, I guess then we have to then include for each interaction, we want to include user profile, because otherwise we will not be able to actually do the mapping. So that's the very first thing that we will need to do here. What's the problem here with this I? Okay, I'm not sure. But I guess that should be okay. Then now let's go back to the mappings. And to the mappings here, where do we have them? Mappings here. These are the mappings. So what we actually have here in the mapping is that I guess we need to also create a map. I guess that's maybe a user profile mapping. So we'll have to create a map here. Okay. So we'll have to create here a map from a user profile to, how did we call that? Other one, interaction user, I guess. Okay. And here, I guess we'll have to actually move this for member. And here, destination dot destination, and then full name. Okay. And then options. And yeah, let me maybe options map from source and source dot basic info dot first name. Okay, plus let's just add a space here. Okay, I hate all this IntelliSense stuff that writer does here. And plus source dot basic info dot last name. It should be like that. So this is the first one that we want to map. And then for member destination destination dot city options. Here then the lambda error options dot map from. Yes, it should be shorter here from the source, and we want to map from the source, which is the basic info and the current city. Okay, and the idea is that what it will happen actually is right now that we actually have a dedicated mapping from the user profile to the interaction user. So if we can come back here, we see that almost of the properties, I guess the only property that we map here custom will be actually that one. Okay, so it should be something like that. Okay, cool. Okay, I guess right now we could maybe once again, try to actually run that. And hopefully right now we don't have that error anymore. Okay. So we want to log in and try it out. Let's provide a password. Execute. And this time it seems to go to the database, so we didn't get the automapper error anymore. And indeed, we got a token, so that's actually cool. So we got a token, so right now we can perform stuff here. Let me go back here to authorize, and I want to set here this value for the token and then authorize. Cool. And right now it means that we can go to post, and here we see that we have post ID, post interactions, and we have a post where we can add an interaction. And I'm curious a little bit here to just, okay, but we need to get the posts first. Okay, so API v1 posts. Try it out. Do we have any post here? 401. Okay, why did I have the 401? I have this one in the header, so invalid token. Okay, maybe I did copy something wrong from the token. Maybe I have copied something wrong. No, actually it seems to be okay. Okay, so why did we actually got that error? Do we have maybe something in the logs here? Hosting diagnostics. No, I guess we don't have. Authentication scheme error was challenged. Requires an authenticated user. Authentication failed. Okay. Deny anonymous authorization request. Requires an authenticated user. Yeah, but I was having no security token validator available for the token. Okay. Bearer was not authenticated. Failure message. No security token available for that token. Okay, I'm not sure because that was actually working before, so I'm not really sure what it actually happens here. But that's a little bit strange, I guess. Let's maybe just try it again. I don't know, maybe there's still something not okay here with my token. Okay, that's okay. And maybe take it from here. Okay. Invalid signature. Okay. Let us just try to log in again. Get another token. Maybe I just did something wrong here. If not, then I will investigate afterwards. So post login. Try it out. And that would be the one. Execute. Okay, so we did get this token here, and let me just copy this part. So I guess everything should be copied right now. So let's authorize. Log out here first of all and log in with the new one. Okay, and let's try to get the posts right now once again. Posts API, not login. That's what we already did. It's this one, execute. Okay, so this time probably I have copied something wrong because this time everything worked. So right now we also have a post ID for that. So let's try to actually add a new post interaction. So post interactions, not the get, but the post, it's this one. Okay, so try it out. We already have, no, we just have to click on that. So the post ID is actually this one. And yeah, the only thing here is we need to actually specify a number here. Yeah, I guess that's that we need actually to actually Christian, thank you very much for joining from Estonia. I guess you're for the first time here, and I guess it's the first visit from Estonia during these live streams. So thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, let me go back here because I want to just take a look into our domain model here. So interaction type. So that would be 0, that would be 1, that would be 2, that would be 3, that would be 4, and that would be 5. Okay, so 0 to 5. These are or should be the supported values that we have right now. Okay, so type, let's start with the 0. Let's start with 0. And let's see if ASP.NET Core will actually be able to bind that to our enum. Type like, yeah, it was correct. So it was correct. Cool. Now let's see exactly what happens here. Of course, here we just need to parse the GUIDs, and that would totally work. Of course, I don't expect that to not work. So everything's okay. I guess now we can click even on continue because we also have a breakpoint in the command handler. So yeah, indeed, we just hit that command handler, and yeah, let's see var post. So can we get the post? Okay, so we did get the post here, and we see that this post also includes interactions. Okay, and this is an enumerable, so well, if I click on raw data, we don't actually see much because we don't have any values to that. Cool. So but we did find a post, so that is actually okay. So we skip this if because post is not null. And then we create a new interaction that also was okay. So we have a new interaction, which is the interaction ID. Well, it has a default interaction type, post ID, user profile. Why is user profile ID null? Okay, why is user profile ID null? Okay. I guess I know why it is null, and probably we'll have to actually stop here because I guess we haven't updated this method here when we create. Yeah, indeed, we haven't. So the idea is that we have this interaction type, but with user profile ID, but we don't set that. So user profile ID equals to user profile ID. So yeah, that was a problem in our data or in our domain model. But now, of course, right now we would actually have to run everything from scratch, and yeah, also log in again to our API to have a valid token and things like that. So let's just close this and go back to Rider and Alt F5 to just run it again. Let me, I don't know, do I still have on the clipboard this user profile or this post ID? I guess yes, I guess that should be the post ID for that. So let's log in first of all, try it out. Here, password. Okay, so execute. And we did get a token back, which is okay. Let's be just careful when we copy here. It should be like that. So authorize. Let's paste the token that we just get. Yes, indeed, it's my first time. Do you have a platform where you publish information about your upcoming live coding sessions so that I won't be late next time? Yeah, for now not, but I have announced actually on this YouTube channel there is actually a post that I did today. So not a video, but a regular post. If you go on the community tab, you will see that. Basically, I will promise that each Monday I will do a live coding session in this series with the API, but I might even do on other days depending on if I have time or not. But I promise that at least each Monday we will have a live coding session in this exact series. But you might want to check that post, because I have several information about also things that I plan to do in the near future. So yeah, but I guess your idea is that it is good. Maybe I should publish the schedule somewhere. So yeah, I'll totally do that. However, all these videos or all these sessions are available on demand also. So after we finish it, there is a playlist that has this exact name, ASP.NET Core API from scratch with CQRS, and in that playlist you have all the videos that we ever did here. Okay, so post interaction, and we have to post an interaction. Try it out. The post ID we should have in the notepad, and that should be okay. Okay, let's put it here, and the type equals 0. That would correspond to a like, so that should be okay. Cool. So right now we are in the controller. Here we have already seen that everything works. No, I don't want to do anything here. I just pressed the wrong button here. That's the correct button. So right now I'm in the handler, and in the handler, let's say post. Okay, we get a post? Yeah, we did get a post, and we also have interactions. Cool. Then we create a new interaction, and this time it should also have the user profile ID, I guess. User profile ID, yeah, that's correct. That's what we need. Cool. Then post add interactions. Let's check our field. Interactions count is 1 right now, so we should be okay with that. And also the interactions that we get here in this enumerable is still 1, so we are good with that, I guess. And now the only thing is we update everything and save changes. Okay, and we did save the changes. That's actually cool. Yeah, we can even then continue maybe. Okay, and let's see what we did get back here. Okay, so we have this interaction ID, the type, and the author is null because we haven't populated the author right now. However, here we could even return a no content. Maybe it might even be better to return a no content here, because it doesn't really make sense to just return this interaction that was just added. And since this is not a regular CRUD, this is working with nested resources, well, we can't really return a 201 created because it doesn't really make sense here. But yeah, for now, I guess that this one works, so we are happy with that. And I guess right now we could even test this get interactions. So we want to get a list of interactions for a certain post. So the post ID should be exactly the same, and let's execute that. Okay, and we hit the breakpoint. So let's see the post ID. Yeah, we have the post ID, and yeah, the cancellation token. But I guess there's not really a lot of things to take or to look into here right now. So we can just continue and go to the handler. So we want to include the interactions, but then for each interaction to also include the user profile. Okay, so let's check it out. So we have a new post. That's okay. So we did find that. Here, what we have interactions. Yeah, it's count 1. And okay, but why is the user profile null? Because we didn't want to get user profile for the post. We did want to get user profile for an interaction. And in that case, we have user profile, which is okay, because the information that we need is from the basic information. Okay, so that's actually cool. So it means that till here everything was okay. Now, of course, the post is not null, so we don't answer this code block, and then we just return payload interaction and then to list. Okay, and then I guess we can just continue here, because I guess we should be okay right now. So the result that we get back is okay. Why did we get here? Because for this one, we actually created a mapping. Why did we actually get this null? That's a little bit strange. Let's go back to the controller maybe. Where do we have the controller? Here. And yeah, let's maybe just put the breakpoint we already have there. So let's maybe just put here a breakpoint. And let's try to actually run this again. So it's the first time that we actually go into this one, and that's the handler. Cool. So right now what we have here, so we have the result. In the result we have the payload. In the payload, which is the post interaction, we have the user profile, and then the user profile contains all the type of information, like the basic information, and everything around that. So mapped, of course, is null till now. Okay, so mapped, what we actually have here. So the interaction user is still null, so that's actually the problem there. Okay, I guess we'll have to stop this and well, take a look into what's actually happening here, or why this mapping doesn't really work. So let's go back to the mappings that we might have here. So we have this user profile where we have a map from user profile to an interaction user. And here for this map, we want to have actually the full name and then the city. And everything we actually map from the basic info. But you know, the problem here is, I guess, the problem here is we should map directly from the basic info. I guess that's our mistake here. Okay. But that's a very strange mapping here, because let's start from here. So we want actually to map from a post interaction that comes from our domain. We want to map to a post interaction that we actually have here. Yeah, I guess I know the problem actually. And I guess probably we don't really need to change here anything. Okay, let's keep it that way. The problem is that we have different names in our domain model, like here. For user profile, it would be a user profile. But then in here, that would actually be an author. So that's actually the things that are different, and that's why AutoMapper cannot really do that. So yeah, we'll have also to have here for member, and here we'll have destination, destination dot author options, and let's go here on a different line. Options dot map of from source source dot user profile. And right now, actually, it will try to map from a user profile to an author. So it will try to map from user profile to an interaction user. Okay, but the user would have a basic info. Maybe we'll get also an error here, but I guess we'll get this right at a certain point. So yeah, let's just it's a little bit weird how the mappings are done here, but yeah, that's actually what we need to do. That this happens when you work with a lot of nested resources here, but we'll get the hang of that. Okay, so first of all we need to authorize, so let's log in, try it out. Password. Hopefully the password is correct. And it seems it is. So we did get back the token. Let's be careful when we copy that. I guess that should do that. Cool. Let's click on authorize and let's specify this token that we did get. Okay, and here we have post interactions. The post ID we have copied here in this notepad, so we can just take it from here, try it out, post ID, execute. Okay, so we hit this first breakpoint, and yeah, let me. Okay, this is the other breakpoint in the handler, but that's actually not, or no, it's the one that actually interests us. So let's see what we have in mapped. Count 1, post interaction, author. Yes, in this case we have everything correctly. So that was actually the problem. The problem was that yeah, we need to actually specify the custom mapping there. Let's remove this breakpoint because we don't need it anymore. And yeah, let's just click on continue, and that should bring us with the result. And you see that here, the interaction ID, interaction type, we have the author, we have this user profile ID, the full name, and the city. Okay, so yeah, that's quite nice. Practically, that's one thing that we might need to actually implement. So I shouldn't be able to actually send several interactions. So I should be able to interact with a post only once. That's not something that we have specified here in this user story for now. So remove one interaction from the post. So that we are actually here at this third point right now. But I guess we'll leave that for tomorrow because as said, each Monday on 8 p.m. CET, we will have a live session in this series. This API. So this means that tomorrow we'll actually continue from here, from point 3. Then probably I'll update this issue to actually also include information that the user should be able to actually send an interaction only once. So you shouldn't be able to send several or to interact with a post several times. It should be possible to do that only once, and that's actually, I guess, fairly easy to do. So we will do that, and we'll also have to implement this point 3, and then we can actually close this user story. Hayden, would you use something else than GitHub issues? Yeah, actually, I'm not sure exactly what are you thinking about. I did think about this one, that it's actually useful to use GitHub issues so that we have everything in the repository, so that we can see all the issues, all the pull requests, so that we don't need to, I don't know, maybe have Trello or something else. And it's for free, and to use Azure DevOps, maybe not everybody uses that. So I was thinking that that's maybe the easiest way to actually go forward, seeing also that we already have some other contributors to this project. So I'm not the only contributor anymore. So that's very nice. Like we have at least 2 others, and I know there's one other more that's working on one issue right now. So I would guess that it makes sense to use the issues on GitHub, but feel free to propose something else. So I wouldn't be necessarily against that. What would you propose instead of issues on GitHub? I mean, that's easier, for instance, for everybody that kind of like interacts with this repository, maybe to even ask questions by creating an issue, maybe reporting bugs or something like that. Like most open source projects, they use issues on GitHub, I guess. Okay, I'm glad that you found this informative, and I guess tomorrow it will be also very informative because we'll also work on another user story. So we'll finish with this one from today, and then we'll probably go to change delete user profile behavior. That's also something that we have to take into consideration. Yeah, Trello or Jira. Yeah, it totally adds a lot more overhead, because that would mean that all community members would have to actually have Trello accounts, or I don't know. I guess it's much easier to interact that we here. If we would have a real team that we were working on a project, we could even maybe use something else. But I guess for now, GitHub issues might be the way to go. So yeah, tomorrow we'll finish with user story that we have started and almost finished today, except 4.3, and we'll start with this other user story, and probably will not have time, but there is also this one with add a new friend request functionality. That's a nice feature that we want to have. And the idea behind is that at a certain point, maybe in 1 or 2 weeks, I would also like to start a new series where we will build a Blazor WebAssembly frontend for this API. So we'll have actually two different series. This one for the API. Tomorrow, what time? It would be 9 p.m. in Romania. So tomorrow at 8 p.m. CET, 9 p.m. Eastern European time, we'll have a new session. And each Monday at the same time, we'll have a new session in this series. So that's my commitment to that. And also I have created a post on YouTube today where I have announced that, and also the plans for the future. Also, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm very pleased to that you were here today, even if it was a Sunday. Tomorrow, hopefully, we will be a little bit more, because it's Monday, and usually Monday we have a bigger audience. But as said, I just wanted to work on this project today, because I want to add some new features as soon as possible, so that we can start actually also build the front end with Blazor WebAssembly. But for that, it will be a dedicated series only to that. So we'll actually, starting from, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks from now, have two different series. One series with this API, where we'll continue to add a lot of new features to the API, maybe based on what we'll find out that we will need when we start to implement the front end. And there will be then the second series, where we will start out with a Blazor application for this API that we already have. Okay, good. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in once again. It was nice to have you here. And yeah, stay safe. And let's meet tomorrow at the same time as today, and write some more code on this project. So bye, have a good night.